Hello, Miss Smith.
Hey.
We're here to discuss Brian's communicational concerns that you expressed to me for the next about 15 minutes or so, if you have the time.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Can you tell me your concerns about his communication?
Well, he's just, especially in school, they've noticed it, and I've noticed more and more that his sentences are almost childlike in that he says things like me want or me go instead of the proper form like I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
Other things like for his ABCs, he just knows the ABCs well, but the sounds that go with them, he doesn't get all the sounds. And other than that, everything's all right. He articulates fine and he reads a lot, so that's great. His literacy is fine.
Have you had his hearing tested?
I have, yes.
Okay.
That's all fine.
Okay. And how does he get your attention? Does he like gesture to you, or does he like pull on your shirt, or?
Sometimes, but mainly he just uses his words.
Mm-hmm. And you say he understands you fine, and he can talk to you fine, understands others fine as well, right?
Yeah, he seems to understand.
Mm-hmm. And he's curious, like every other 6-year-old, asking lots of questions.
He is, yeah. He asks a lot of questions.
Can you give me an example of a typical conversation that you have with Brian?
Sure, well, like every day I ask him how his school day went, and he usually starts out by saying, well, me had fun, or me go playground, or, it's just a very simplified form that I wasn't worried about at first, but his peers are all ahead of him with developing their language, and sometimes, in fact, they even make fun of him for talking kind of like a baby.
I understand. When did you first notice that he was having this communicational issue? And if you didn't notice, then who was the one that brought it to your attention?
Well, I'd have to say it was Brian's teacher that pointed out he's definitely struggling in school with a couple aspects like we talked about, his alphabet sounds and all that. His teacher just constantly has been telling me about his struggles, and at first I guess I sort of denied them and figured that he'd outgrow it, but it's just consistent that he's struggling in school. So now I think it's the time to get that all fixed and looked at.
I see. Has anyone else expressed concerns with your child's communication?
Well, yeah, we had family in town recently, and like his niece, who's just a little bit older than Brian, would also point out that Brian talked funny, and I mean his aunt and uncle who were in town along with them also expressed to me their concerns privately that they agree with the teacher sort of that we definitely need to get it checked out because it's just not at his age sort of appropriate the way he talks.
Are you doing anything currently that aids or eases his communication?
Well, I mean, we've gone over and over like stories. We read a lot. As for communication, I sort of model the correct form for him to follow because I heard that's good to do, but I haven't ever taken him anywhere else or anything like that.
Can you tell me about his development as like growing up? Any sicknesses or illnesses or anything like that?
Healthy kid, healthy and happy. That's all. Nothing until now.
So you said he likes to read lots of books. Can he appropriately answer questions about the stories?
Well, I think he understands if you're asking about his comprehension, but appropriately answer. He answers how Brian always does with few words, but I think he understands. He just can't express what he understands in a way that's age appropriate.
Okay, I understand. And you also said that he knows all the letters of the alphabet, but the sounds that go with them, he doesn't know. How often do you work with him with that? Like several times a week?
Yeah, whenever I get a chance. I mean, he loves to go over the ABCs, and I try and focus on all the sounds now that I know that's important to focus on. So I'd say pretty frequently.
Can you tell me how he's doing at school?
Well, I mean, I thought everything was going well until his teacher started expressing concern. Apparently, he's just really struggling, and so that's why we're here, because I really want him to do the best he can in school, and I think that this little language barrier that he has should just get fixed so that he can go back to doing well in school.
Right. And
yeah, he's just struggling tremendously right now, apparently.
And if you believe that therapy is the next step, what are some goals that you think are appropriate or would help with his communication or with his language skills?
I think maybe getting him more on an age-appropriate level like his peers, whatever it takes, whether it be, therapy. Obviously, I'm open to it now, so hopefully just working on expanding his sentences, maybe using more words in a proper form, activities that encourage that.
Okay. So you say that everything is fine when it comes to following directions and expressing to a certain extent that his language, he has like a younger vocabulary, let's say, still uses me instead of I, has trouble with tenses, does he, things like that.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you for your help.
Thank you.
And we'll just have him come in next week for an evaluation.
Sounds good. Can't
All right.
wait. Thanks.